Nation in Conversation, proudly brought to you by Afgri, Fort Knox, Hinterland, Monsanto, Nedbank, NWK and Senders. The only way that we can live is if we grow. The only way that we can grow is if we change. The only way that we can change is if we learn. The only way we can learn is if we are exposed. And the only way that we can become exposed is to throw ourselves out into the open. Do it. Throw yourself.
Welcome to Nation in Conversation from me, Theo Foster. This week we continue our visit to successful new farmers. We experience their passion and we focus on the role of mentorship in creating a successful agriculture enterprise. After our visits to the farms, we will have some guests in the studio to share with us why they have chosen agriculture as a career path and explore the opportunities in this sector. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at NationConverse or visit the website nationinconversation.co.za. Our first visit was to Solomon Masanga, the 2015 Grain SA ABSA John Deere Financial New Era Commercial Farmer of the Year. Solomon farms with maize and cattle in Carolina, Mpumalanga, and he aims to expand and farm with more than 1,000 hectares in the next 5 years.
My name is Solomon. My surname is Masanga. I'm farming here in Braxspruit, next to Carolina. I was born here on the farm, and then I grown up here. And then from here, I work in Nissan South Africa for a couple months. From there, I started doing my mining courses, and then I end up having a blasting certificate and being a blasting engineer. And then from there, I start doing transport. From there, I decide to become a farmer. I've decided to become a farmer because it's a job, it's a business which will never end up. Because as you know that every morning when you wake up, you need to eat, and we can't eat without a farmer. So it's a business which can't stop anyway. On this farm, I'm farming with maize and soyas and livestock. When I start doing livestock, I started with 7 cattle, but it's growing very fast. For now, it's 2015. It's a very lovely thing for me. I'm having almost 50 calves on my cattle. When I start with my maize, by 2009, I was getting only 1 ton on a head. I was getting 20 bags. But now, I'm getting more than 6 tons, and I'm rushing to 9 tons. The difference from that time and now is an experience, it's knowledge. Because when I start planting here, I was not evenly knowing what is in my soil, what the nutrients my soil had, and all those things. But now, I know what my soil needs. I know what type of seeds should I use here. I know what type of fertilizer and how much should I put in order to get more. I've got 2 mentors. I've got mentors who are from Afgri, and then I also have a mentorship from Grain SA. They're giving me a lot of tips and tricks to work with ground.
When Afgri started this program of helping the emerging farmers, they've realized that farmers need more than just finance. They need more than just seeds, chemicals, and so on and so forth. Farmers need to be trained and developed over a long period of time. And that's exactly what we see on Solomon now. He has been started with this program, it's been 4 years now, and we can see the results now. For me, it's been a pleasure and honor to work next to the guy like this, because even now, I learned a lot of stuff from him. He's learning a lot of things from me. In that way, I strongly believe that we do skills transfer on a regular basis. Guys like Solomon, you know what? I strongly believe that this guy's got the career, he's got the future, he's got everything on his end. Because he's got the passion for it, and he's got the drive. And most importantly, you know what? If you look on his competencies in terms of leadership, he's got everything. He's self-motivated. Solomon, his farm is a success story simply because he started small. And with that small, he grew from pillar to post. Because now, as we speak today, he's planting more than 400 hectares, and he started from 50 hectares. Because of his passion, because of his love for farming, because of his drive to succeed, he's where he is today. I strongly believe that if Solomon continue with this passion that he's got, he's going to go far.
I met Solomon Masanga about a year ago, started here in Mpumalanga. He never knew his dad. He grew up, unfortunately his dad passed away when he was very young. He was brought up by his mum on a farm, and he loved working with his hands on the farm. About 5-6 years ago, he started renting this farm where he grew up. He started planting here, and with the help from Grain South Africa, he had to learn much more about how to go about to farm this place. He's always willing to learn, and he drives from here to Ottosdal in the northwest to go and see what the farmers are doing at a no-till Farmers Day. So he's always willing to work, to learn. That's his biggest asset. It is very important to get these upcoming farmers to produce. For our country, it is important that they can produce so that we have food security in this country.
I can simply say halfway, I've met success. Because now what I have to do when I check behind where I'm from and now, I'm very far. But I haven't yet reached the level where I want to see myself, because I am a commercial farmer now. But I've got a challenge. I need to see myself working in thousands of hectares. If there is someone who can do more than what I do, then that means I am still having a way to go. What I can advise the new farmers is that when you want to be a farmer, not just a farmer, a good farmer, you need to love it. I used to say, I'm born for farming because I love farming. Farming, it doesn't come out of papers. You don't just read and then you see that Mr. So-and-so do well and then tell yourself that you can do well as well. If you don't like it, then it's very difficult. And farm, you can't do it with a remote. It won't work with the remote control. You need to be there. You need to be always, like myself, every day, every single day. I work 7 days on a farm. I'm always on a farm because I like farming. So I would like to advise some other people who haven't started that if you've got ground which is lying and you don't know what to do with it, it's money, it's business for you. And you will be having something to let some other people survive on yourself. Without farmer, we are nothing. We can't go anywhere. We've got a lot of jobs. We've got some people who are working on the mine. We've got people who are staying in town. We've got people who are in the factories. But all those people, they depend on us as a farmer. And I can simply say one thing. For the people who are staying in town or in location, most of the old people, they end up on an old age home. But if you are in farming, you farm until you die. When you leave your farm, you go straight to the grave.
Solomon's story is truly remarkable if you take into consideration the obstacles he had to overcome to become the new era commercial farmer of the year. Truly inspiring. After the break, we'll be back with Nation in Conversation and look at another inspiring story. Welcome back to Nation in Conversation. Our next visit was to Anak Kotla, a maize, lucerne and cattle farmer in the Brits area in the Northwest Province. He's a mechanical engineer, but he left his career in engineering to pursue his childhood dream of becoming a farmer.
My name is Anak Kotla. I'm a farmer around Brits in the Madiben district. Actually, my parents come originally from a village called Jericho. It's not very far from where I farm. It's about just 26 kilos west of my farm. So I was fortunate to get a farm close to where where I originally come from. My father, although he was a pastor, he always had some farming operation going. He always had cattle. He always likes chickens quite a lot. He farmed with chickens. And so from both sides of my family, they were always interested in farming. I studied mechanical engineering at the University of Cape Town. My first job was at Volkswagen. And of course, they say when the tick of farming has bitten, you always come back to it. So about 2004, we bought this farm and we immediately stayed on the farm with my whole family. I've got that time it was just myself and my wife. And about 2009, after about 5 years farming part-time, I realized that the farm requires far much more work, and then I decided to quit my engineering job and farm full-time here. There's no one in this area, within Brett's area, that I say I cannot go to him and knock and ask questions. That's how I learned how to farm here, all the tricks, because I've got a very, very close, open relationship with all the farmers around here. Quite a lot of them have helped me with a lot of things, borrowed me the equipment and helped me with a lot of tips. Although the farm is small, but if you look at it now, to start with cattle farming from the beginning, to buy a big farm also is very costly. So I used the resources that we have here. Fortunately, we've got water, we can irrigate. So I farm my cattle with pastures mostly. I plant lucerne. I plant maize to make silage for it so that I can feed the cattle. In winter, I plant oats so that they can graze on it. The challenges are as well that we experience with that type of farming is it's very, very capital intensive. You have to buy stud animals, you have to buy proper good animals and very good genetic material, and that doesn't come cheap. So you have to, your capital outlay from the beginning is very, very high. The stud farming is a game of reputation and consistency. So while you're developing that, it's difficult to carry yourself through, because you won't get those sales of those very good income animals while you're starting. You have to start developing yourself first to develop that brand first. From the beginning, when we bought this farm, we treated it as a business, because we knew we can't just farm for leisure or just as a hobby, especially that the farm had to pay for itself. So from the beginning, I mean, we did all the requirements. We, fortunately, with our engineering background, there's a business components that you always study. So we had a bit of a background on how to run businesses.
There's a lot of these young farmers or upcoming farmers that really wants to farm. This type of upliftment or development of the upcoming farmer is very important, because we had to contribute to the bread basket in South Africa, and we had to uplift all the people that do have a potential. We have 2 training hubs where we do the theoretical training and some of the practical training, but most of the practical training is on the farm itself, where we show the people how to for instance, to calibrate a plant and the planting depth, and so that we can really train these people that they can do it themselves eventually. In the long run, we want them to become commercial farmers. And to do that, they have to grow and understand the whole farming process. And that is from planning, the application of everything up to harvesting.
My children know nothing else except farm life, and fortunately for them, they like farming like a lot. They're already playing a huge role for children their age. They're already fascinated. They already have their own projects here. We've got chickens here. The elder ones is running that chicken project. He's selling them. He's making, and they're always interested in crop farming. They're already interested in livestock. Farming is a basic need of life. I mean, we need food. It has long been recognized that we cannot live without farming. It's also fulfilling. I mean, there's nothing as nice as you put the seed on the ground and the next week there's plants which are growing there. And you can see them grow, you can nurture them, see them grow. There's nothing as nice as giving a bull to a cow or artificially inseminating a cow. And 9 months later you see a nice calf that's better than the mother or the father. Then you know you're making progress on that and nurturing that calf to make it grow. And we live more in closer proximity to nature as farmers than anywhere else. So when you love nature and you've got a passion for farming, that's the way to go.
I've been involved in development of the upcoming farmers for a couple of years, and it is a privilege to realize that there are many of them that really from nothing, they after a couple of years they buy new vehicles, and they are proud of what they are doing. And it is really encouraging to know that these guys can do it with a little bit of assistance.
It's touching to see how Enoch shares his passion for farming with his 3 young sons. Age doesn't come in the way of their passion for farming. After the break, we look at career opportunities in agriculture. Welcome back to Nation in Conversation. We're at the University of Pretoria. With me, Melissa and Kensani. Melissa, agriculture. Sometimes when we think about agriculture, we focus on the farmer, on primary agriculture. But that's not the whole picture. There's actually a variety of career opportunities in the field of agriculture.
That's correct. You can think about it looking at a supply chain. So we have a farmer, and then after that we have some sort of processing going into packaging, into wholesaling, and then potentially also retailing. And then also we have all sorts of institutions and organizations that play a part in that as well, such as insurance companies and banks, etc. And those companies are actually the companies where our students can fit in nicely. So you have students applying for jobs at banks, you have students applying for jobs at, say for instance, the Department of Agriculture, for insurance companies, and then also for processors and also sometimes wholesalers and retailers such as Woolworths, where they are basically procurers of agricultural products.
So it's actually a bigger field of study than pure primary agriculture.
Exactly. There's many opportunities throughout the value chain.
Kensani, you studying agriculture. First, what are you studying?
I'm studying agricultural economics, my master's first year, in specializing in agricultural policy.
Why did you choose agriculture?
Well, I was a young girl from Limpopo. I wasn't raised in an agricultural background, but I knew that every time I saw my neighbor's goats walk by, that was something that was a passion to me. I dared to be different. While everyone was choosing engineering, it was a booming time for engineering. I chose to be different and took a risk. And then I came here. It was a little bit nerve-wracking when I started, it's a new thing. at home, no one understands. But then I took a risk and I fell in love with it. Second year, you know, it's so broad. You do anything from genetics to accounting. You know everything from anything, business management. You know, agricultural economics is our major, but we do everything. In my fourth year, I got an opportunity to actually go abroad to California for 10 days, and that was an amazing time for me. So that just showed me that there are opportunities in agricultural economics, there are opportunities in agriculture as a sector, and it shouldn't just be about farming, and I got to understand that and fell in love with it.
If you, Kensani, were to give advice to a young man or woman watching the program and thinking of agriculture as a career opportunity, what would your advice be?
I would say there's opportunities, especially for young black youth. I would say dare to dream. When someone tells you or just tells you that agriculture is about farming, or, you know, there is so much to do. There is, you know, South Africa has a problem of unemployment, especially for young people around the ages of 15 and 24. Agriculture is a place to be. If you can sell yourself in a good way, if you can brand yourself, there's a place for you in agriculture. So dare to dream, do something different, join agriculture.
Melissa, if you look at the agriculture landscape and where we are now, and you look at the future of agriculture, the big element that everybody talks about is food security, is the urbanization of the population. Would you see that as a career that in future will become more important, that the role of agriculture will be bigger? What's your view?
Well, what I've seen with the same conference that Kensani spoke about in California, they talk about urbanization, etc. there as well, but they also keep playing on how important agriculture is, how important convenience is, how important health is for consumers. And what we've seen is there's this big drive towards agriculture, towards food products, etc., and to bring that to urban consumers. What we've also seen is that farmers used to be relatively old, between the ages of 50 and 60 in South Africa as well as in other countries, but what we've seen in South Africa is a big influx of these young boys going back to their farming backgrounds, going back to the farms and really ploughing back into the fields and really growing agricultural products. And we also see the likes of Kensania and her colleagues and her friends also wanting to join agriculture, wanting to join the value chain. So to me, there's definitely no other future than agriculture. I mean, all of us have to eat. So I agree with Kensani, build dreams in agriculture.
And we need food every day.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. You're watching Nation in Conversation. You're welcome to visit our website, nationinconversation.co.za, or follow us on Twitter at Nation Converse. From me, Theo Foster, good day.
Nation in Conversation, proudly brought to you by AFGRI, Fort Knox, Hinterland, Monsanto, Nedbank, NWK, and Sendes.
The world is changing today. The world is changing in every way. Let's stand together, put our hands together, join hands forever. We're making it better. No matter where